move the EMS account to the village account. So that was that we talked about before, the potential $60,000, whatever is there. I believe that money should be moved into the village account, and the things that are needed to be spent out of that be spent in the same way the police department does, the same way the public works department does it. That will be in our account, and we can figure, if we're going to do that, we'll figure out what budget item, what line item to put it into, and I believe we should do that now.
Yeah, I agree.
You're making that a motion?
Not exactly, because I don't know exactly, I won't say that yet, but
I thought I saw one floating around.
Oh, those are different.
If I can, I think the board's discussion at the last meeting, effectively, it was about the money's village money, it's in an account, the clerk treasurer should be getting access to that account. It's considered a village account because it's a village EIN number. The treasurer of the emergency rescue squad was the one who had authorization to the account. I thought the discussion was that he provide access to that account to the clerk treasurer. I don't know. That's what I recall. I mean, I guess I have to look back at the video to see exactly how that played out. I don't believe I'm not sure if there was an actual action item or motion at that last meeting.
there was not.
So,
But I'm going to make one tonight.
should we make a motion to make that happen?
Yes, I believe that we should, to move that money, and we understand that there are a couple of outstanding things that are going to need to be taken care of. We understand that we're going to have a problem, well, we're going to take care of the banquet, we're in some manner or form. We have a problem with money owed to Pinsky, and we're going to talk to you about some of that. And so there are some things that need to be paid, but we're going to pay those things, or we're going to make the decisions about paying those things.
Right. I think the motion would be not necessarily move the money, but to change the control of the account, right, from the current treasurer to the clerk's office.
Is that how you do it?
The village clerk.
Right, I think it's a village account. It's just taking the,
Well, I've never seen it, so.
well, and that's part of, I think, the issue, that the control of that account should be in the village treasurer's office, and I think
Then it would show up.
non-village employees or individuals like that
Then it
should
would
be
show,
off.
then it would show up on your list. You know,
It should, right, it should.
Yeah.
So, why would it be in our interest to continue to have that account, only have it controlled by the village treasurer, and rather than have that money in our regular village account with a EMS line item? What is the better way to do this?
I think either
Right,
way accomplishes the same thing, right?
Yeah, one would just go into the general fund under the fire department line items.
Under the EMS line item.
EMS.
Yeah,
Right, EMS, for EMS.
Yeah.
And then the other way you could do is you could put it in a reserve fund for EMS, but then they could only use it for certain items. So I don't know how you want to do it.
But neither one of those ways would that account still exist.
No, we would change it to
So-
something we had. It wouldn't be whatever they've got, because
Let me think about this.
it'd be something different.
If we put it into the general fund,
Yeah,
under the EMS line items,
right. We could do that transfer right into their little accounts.
right, but we more or less have to spend that money this year.
Is that correct?
So the other,
It could be cured. We're gonna spend the money this year, because you're way over, because we didn't budget anything for
Let's
this
get
year.
the,
right, so, to me, one of the issues was the money, I think, in that account are all donated monies.
We talked about that.
Right, which means that they're restricted for what they can be used for. And one of the concerns if you sweep it into your general fund account is that at the end of the year, if for some reason there's monies left over, that should be saved for specifically the EMS purposes. And if you sweep it into your general fund, then you might lose track of that potentially. But if
Yeah,
Rodney
we're not
said
gonna lose
you use all that money,
They've got 10 guys looking over on the other
We're
side.
not going to lose track of it.
We can use that money first before we do
How much money are we talking about?
Maybe $60,000.
around 60,000 is what I've heard.
We don't really know.
But it's enough to get radio.
Well, so also, the recommendation is that we're going to ask for the squad's records, because we need to audit the squad's account, and we're going to ask that to have that account or monies turned over to the village treasurer. in whatever manner that we're gonna ask for it.
Right.
So, once again, do we want to empty that account and that account is there in limbo or whatever for some other use? Do we want to, I don't know how we do this.
Well, I don't wanna use exactly what they've got, because they've got it labeled whatever. They've got that account labeled Fire Department Emergency Squad Donation Fund or something.
Well, maybe we can take it out of
It
there.
won't be called that anymore,
Yeah.
and we won't have one of those accounts like that.
No, let's not have that.
Right.
Let's put that in our general fund,
Right.
under a line item.
For, yeah, right.
And what-
If it's 60,000, we'll put 60,000 in the fire department line items.
No, not fire department.
I mean, well,
EMS.
I'm used to that, but EMS, yeah. Yeah. Or you can put the whole thing into a CD or a reserve fund, what do you wanna do?
I think we need
We're gonna
it.
probably spend it this year.
Right.
So we're gonna
We
need
had
it.
11,000 over for that ambulance right off the bat.
Yeah, and we're still sniffing and buying the one from
Yeah, there's that
New
one.
Jersey for 30,000, so we're
But the
gonna,
problem is, these guys aren't gonna like load that money with us. They're-
well, that's why we're
We've
gonna
already
make
asked
this one
them,
now.
we've asked them for it, but,
Well, now we're gonna,
okay, if you make a
We
motion.
have
We're
to do-
making law, yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
so. Since we don't know exactly how much it is,
We can probably just say the entire
we're
account.
gonna ask for, yes, as of today,
Right.
as of April 15th,
Tax day.
spend no more money from that account. We want that account transferred to the treasurer. Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about it. I believe the board considers this money to be Village of Owego monies. And so you're directing the individual in charge of the account to transfer control of that account to the village clerk treasurer's office, and then Rod would do with it, I think, what he's just described, which is move the money out of the account into
The
another.
line item.
A line item.
But that's what they don't want, though.
I understand that.
They want us to pay for everything.
There's a bunch of things that they believe that money is there for, and that's not what we're gonna do.
Right, I
So,
mean, this is good, it's, all the money's gonna be used for their own good.
Yeah, correct.
For their good,
Right.
so, that's all.
The same thing the money's being used for today.
Yeah,
so,
and future donations come in that say whatever, we will also put that money in there.
we'll address that.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
so-
So you got some sort of.
I'm making a motion, I don't have the exact wording right here, but that as of today, April 15th,
Spend no
the
more money.
treasurer of the EMS transfer that account to the village treasurer.
Okay,
Does that about take care of it?
Sure.
And then he'll, whatever, do I need to say what he's gonna, line item he's gonna put in? Okay.
no.
Create a line item for
But I
the
didn't say
emergency
that.
No,
Line items to EMS.
Okay,
this is a separate deal.
so,
Should we make a motion? Well, finish yours and then do it.
We need a second on yours.
Are they done?
I think that's it. I just wanna say.
I just want to make sure you're done with the motion. I'll second that motion.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Now, was there more monies that belong to the fire department? And you're splitting it off?
No, they all always have had their own separate little accounts.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. I'll
I know a lot of people are looking at this as a divorce, so they're trying to divvy up stuff and then
There is still a chain of thought that money belongs to somebody else in some other way, and we need to make sure that this is
Clear.
clear.
donations that were given for squad, should be
Yes.
for the squad.
It
Yeah,
will
they were clearly donating money for.
will be used for the squad, but there's disagreements about who gets to decide for what, how, when, and where.
Alright, wanna vote now?
All right, so let's vote on that. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
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 Yes. Now, my question is, do we need a motion to pay this bill that we have for $11,000 for this ambulance that's supposed to be done on Wednesday? It's over $5,000.
I'd sure like to know who
Yeah, who authorized that?
who said what.
It was pretty clear at the last meeting that 5,000 was the limit.
Right,
Which is another reason why this money just moved.
right.
And This seems like gross insubordination to me.
So,
But you were also under the gun, because you had no ambulances all of a sudden.
right.
Well, they had us over the barrels.
And now we got a bill, we probably need it back. Well, we actually don't have a bill yet, but we have.
So somehow this needs to be crystal clear that the next ambulance in there is having an estimate and is not being repaired
Correct.
for $2, $4, $6, $8, $10, $20,000.
Correct.
That will not be repaired until it's approved by.
Right, we get an estimate, we approve the estimate, and then it gets repaired.
Is there, Jeff, since you're here, I mean, so if you've got vehicles that you can't repair in-house, what is the policy that you typically follow? I mean, I think that would be the same thing that all the other department heads probably should be doing, and I think that should be communicated clearly to the EMS department head and
Well,
all of them as a gentle reminder.
I always get a guesstimate, which is basically what they are. I mean,
right, yeah.
And then you come back to the village board and ask for village board approval above a certain threshold, or, I mean, you don't just.
I would do it for anything that's over $5,000. And I would come to the board and tell them that if it was something that was gonna be $2,500 or $2,000, I'd tell
You still tell us the same.
Yeah.
But I've never had, other than the sweep, I've never had anything that cost that much. But ours are usually little problems
Right.
that we can't diagnose on our scanner.
Hopefully, once these get up to par, there will be little problems.
Yeah, I don't know, I asked them who authorized, when I called them back and said,
Yeah.
I didn't know they were doing all this work, but I asked him who authorized it, and he said the fire department. He didn't give me a name.
Because he probably doesn't understand the difference.
Right.
Yeah. So, which, it's their vehicle, so.
Well, okay.
So when did that go in?
God, I'd have to go back and look at this.
Shortly, right around when the Department of Health gave them, paid us a visit.
Right.
So that was even, when was that? That was that before, was that in March?
Yeah.
It was before the last
Yeah.
board meeting.
Wow.
So this has been a royal for quite some time now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like over a month.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
That's why I called them to see what the heck was going on.
Yeah, this one was the one originally taken from, way back.
Okay.
Here.
So the question is, you want to know if we're going to approve to pay for that ambulance? We probably don't have much choice, do we?
I mean, they've done the work at this point.
We'd like to make sure that it's going to be somewhat near that 10,815 with all of a sudden here it's 20.
Have they submitted an invoice?
No.
Yeah, I would say, like normal payment of bills and things, ask them to submit an invoice for review and auditing by the village board.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I just didn't want it to be done and sit down there for another month.
Okay. Well, I assume that they will give it to us even when they give us an invoice. We don't have to pay them before we get it. That's not how that works, is it?
Jeff?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I mean, you take your car there, that's how that works, but I don't know with us, the village.
I'm trying to think. We get an invoice, we submit it for payment. And we pick up the vehicle whether it's paid for or not.
So that's what you,
The other thing is that we do, my department uses POs. I send a letter every year to every vendor that I use, that if you don't have a PO, that you don't do the work.
Right.
So, all right, so we're gonna wait it now, as long as we're kind of muddied up the waters here.
great.
I've talked to a bunch of you guys about the smart lot. This is the streetlights. We're supposed to have a closing, they're waiting for the audit report, but we haven't had a closing. So this bill was due on 11/26/18.
And just to be clear, the audit report is sent to the independent auditor,
Yeah.
and it's not done yet.
who are, but he said he'd be done, probably thought it'd be done this week. So
Right.
when last I talked to him, this week.
So it's not anything we're behind, I mean,
It's not far.
we weren't behind on sending him this.
No, it's just that we just haven't had a closing, so we can have a closing on this whole money that we get reimbursed from. So, what these guys want, like a good faith tell us, is they want us to send them like $50,000 of this $338,000, and then they'll cool their heels for another month or so until we have a closing. And we get reimbursed this whole amount. And then we're gonna refinance this whole thing. But we should have had, not that we, but we just haven't had this audit, so they can't have a closing to pay for this, but.
So your opinion is that we're gonna, if we give them their little taste, their 50,000, where this is gonna get closed and we're gonna get our,
Oh, yeah.
and then what kind of time frame before we get our,
They said they can close in like 2 weeks, once they get their stuff, a couple of weeks.
close in 2 weeks, but then we get our,
We get 338,000 plus, I think, 100.
I'm just asking how long that takes after the
Oh,
closing. Or
like a week after.
Okay.
But we're gonna get around 400,000 total.
They won't come break our legs, or
Well,
I mean, if we don't pay it, they've been calling me.
we gotta pay the bank. We gotta pay the bank.
This is the bank, when you say they, this is the financial,
which is not.
right,
yes.
they is the financial institution.
No, it's Smart Watt, the company that did this street lights.
So we're gonna do borrow this.
Oh, okay.
So we're funding something to pay it, or?
Yeah, we'll take it out of the balance I have there. But like I say, we're gonna pay ourselves back.
I understand.
Okay.
So we have a place that we can take you.
Yeah,
You can give them the 50 from now.
but we owe it.
Jeff?
You're volunteering, Jeff?
Well, we have to watch this.
I gotta pay back the money that you stole from my streetlight line item with that money?
Yes, I am. That's part of your money.
I know it is. I'm just asking if I'm actually gonna
Yeah,
get it back.
that's all part of this whole grand, we should have a closing out there. You're right, though. I did take, when I paid the last bill, I took it out of that account, because that's where all these accounts are coming from.
Rod, make your suggestion clear,
So I-
and let's do it if we're
So I need a
gonna.
motion to pay Smart Water $50,000 on their, partial balance of their, the closeout, and the rest will be paid at the closing, and hopefully end of the month, or,
Where are we gonna take it from?
probably Jeff's streetlight thing, it's, streetlight account.
Does it still have $50,000 in it?
Damn, no.
I can tell you, right?
Well, that didn't hurt.
I'll find.
You can overrun it.
Yeah, I can overrun it.
Just for me to get it
Are
back.
we gonna take it out of DPW's?
Yeah, we'll take it somewhere.
Somewhere.
I won't say DPW, I will take it someplace.
Well, we're supposed to, remember, this is our audit stuff. I'll take it someplace they don't like that stuff, so tell us what you're gonna do so we can approve it.
I would like to take it out of DPW streetlights account.
Okay.
Okay. And then, like I say, when we get it back, it goes back in there.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what I need, and that,
Did somebody move it?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Rusty. Like I say, they call the auditor like every day, they call me every day, they call the mayor every day, it's like,
They do.
they do, and the auditor called me and said, hey, they don't work for me, I work for you, blah, blah. I said, you're right, okay.
They haven't shown up with a black Cadillac yet, so.
But I said, if you do this, we, like,
Good faith.
give us good faith and maybe we'll close it.
Board was so dangerous.
Well,
Let's do it.
okay.
You can't refuse.
All right, so we got a motion, Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
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 All right, thank you, guys.
Don't give us anything more, Rod.
I'm not telling you. Okay.
Next, Mike.
$50,000 for my bank account?
We gotta move this quick.
Oh, you gotta move it along, is that what you're saying?
It is Rusty's birthday.
Next is
Really?
trustee reports.
I forgot about 69 candles, I'm sorry.
Oh, you should have brought cupcakes, all right. Trustees
Wasn't there
reports.
that other declaration, or were you gonna do that during your,
Or, one of you guys can if you want.
Do it.
We talking
Do
about?
it.
Wanna do it now?
Which one are you talking about?
These, two motions regarding fire department.
Okay, what are they?
Do it.
I gave you a copy of them.
Okay,
Can I make a motion to direct that the fire department of the Village of Wego, including its board of trustees, refrain from further action regarding the formation of any corporate entities without prior approval of the board of trustees of the Village of Wego.
I'll second that.
Okay. Do we have any discussion on this? Okay. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
And the next one is,
I make a motion to direct that the fire department of the Village of Wego, including its board of trustees, cease efforts to appropriate or spend monies donated to the Village of Wego for emergency medical services without prior approval from the board of trustees of the Village of Wego.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Okay. Fran?
Yes.
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 Yes. Those are good.
trustees report.
You got that?
Okay, you want me?
Yes.
Okay, last Monday, the 8th, was a cemetery committee meeting, and Jeff was very helpful with attending the meeting and giving us progress on the drainage and the other walls and that sort of stuff, which will be done by later in the summer. And we've set up our work schedule days monthly. First one is Saturday, the 27th of April. And then we have another work day in conjunction with, let me get this right, with Make a Difference Day, which is promoted by the Rotary, which is May the 4th, and then another work day on May the 18th. They all start at 9 and end around noon.
Okay.
And you know, the whole idea is to get volunteers to come and help with little projects in the cemetery.
Cool.
And we talked about other items as far as potentially getting the paving done up there, which may not happen for another year yet. Looking for grants and that type of thing, so we don't have to totally deplete our reserve fund. Currently we have not heard anything back on the grant for the landscape architect, but that's all into New York State and hopefully will happen very soon. And so then on Tuesday the 9th, I went to the Tioga County Shared Services meeting, and that is still a work in progress. They're having another meeting on June, I believe it's June the 12th at 6 at the Hubbard Auditorium. But what they're doing is talking with all the communities about shared IT services. And this is something that we really need to consider with a new municipal building, as far as so that we're not getting duplicate work done by contractors and through the shared services too.
Right.
And one thing that can be done quite soon is get some actual Village of Wego email set up, right?
Yes.
And this is something that's would happen this year, and they would have to come and talk to us about it before we approved it. So, that's all.
Yes, we're going to have to use Gmail and
Right, and other
Whatever.
stuff.
Whatever.
Yeah, and of course I attended with some of the other people here, the
I think the
EMS banquet on Saturday evening, which was very nice.
I think the police would be interested in that because there's governmental reasons not to use
Yes.
government type email.
I mean, just to, and I said this before, but the email addresses you use as government officials mean that your emails can be foiled.
Yeah. I'll stop that from happening.
Well, it would still be able to foil them, but
Yeah, but they don't need
Doesn't
to
that
get all of our
sense-
personal
ends of the word
information.
Except for Rusty, you can't foil anything.
Yeah, Rusty has no problem.
he's got a filing cabinet.
Yeah,
Then file the
I
case.
see him on the shredding.
Anything else, Fran?
no, that's it.
Charles?
I did attend the fire board meeting. Was invited. I must say it is important as trustees for us to attend meetings like this so that we could all attempt to stay on the same page as far as communications is concerned, so that we don't get misinformation that will ignite firestorms. And that's all I got to say about that.
That's why we have a commissioner, right, to attend that meeting.
But yeah, it was a good meeting. No, anything else?
Oh, I don't.
Well, you went to the banquet, too.
You got the water.
Prime rib.
Yes.
Nice.
Got a water bottle.
Everybody won one.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Jeff. A yard debris, clear or brown paper bags, correct? I see some out in black plastic bags. I don't know what to tell the people putting them out. I didn't know whether to address, I saw they were picked up today. I don't know whether to address people I see doing that or not.
We really don't like black bags because people tend to bag up their garbage with their
I had
leaves and stuff.
something, I had a feeling. I've seen a couple of black bags past couple of days.
Either clear bags or the biodegradable brown bags that are open so we can see what's, of course they can always bury the stuff, but or just rake them out there and we'll suck them up with the leaf sucker, so. Everybody says it's hard to find clear bags,
I get them
which,
down at the hardware store,
that's what I thought.
$10 for 40 of them, not a big deal.
So, that's why we don't like.
I just wanted to verify to make sure, because I was going to address a couple of people I saw in Temple with Spencer area.
We tend to pick them up and then hope for the best, only because they'll sit there forever if we don't, so.
That's all I've got.
Well, just getting back to the banquet we attended, I just want to extend a thank you from everyone from the EMS. They said that it took years to accomplish what we've done in a short period of time. They've been trying to get this done, and I just wanted to say thank you for all of our support.
Yeah, we found out we moved their money.
Mr. Fuller? Yeah, they heard that for tonight.
Status on the rezoning across the river. 17th is the county's meeting for 239. We don't know if we've sent something to it. Is it too late to do that?
Oh, yeah.
We can always ask them to consider it on the agenda if it wasn't sent. They might make exceptions, sometimes they do, especially if it's a relatively straightforward thing like our rezoning like this.
Is there somebody that can do that?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff's office, Meg, I think, is the one who sends all that.
And she may have sent it, I'm not sure. I'd have to
Would you ask her if she did? And if she didn't, is that something that she might do to ask them if they would consider that?
If we have an I'll go over and talk to Larry.
I appreciate that.
See if we can do it.
Because we have a public hearing set for the next meeting, and if we don't do that, we're out of time frame on that. Okay. And then, it has to go to our planning? Or not our zoning board, because it has to go to our planning, so that they need to have it on their agenda. If the county's, okay, that's what I'm gonna ask about that.
Check that out tomorrow.
Thank you. And thank you for taking care of that roof immediately over there at fire police station, because I don't know when, it would rain like blazes the last couple of days. I wish we somehow, it doesn't matter, we did not mess it up this weekend, but you got that done this morning fast. I meant to say something last meeting, I don't think I did because things get going too fast, about the police grant that Joe told us that he got. and that was for an SUV, and I don't remember if everybody knew what this was for. It was for an SUV, it was for tasers, it was for cameras, and it was for computers. And it was $72,000, and it's, so that's the stuff that we're gonna get out of that, and it's excellent. Sherry Zielinski, who is a member of our fire department, and a member of the fire board, and a member of the squad, and recently, I believe, moved back into the village, has expressed an interest in serving on some of our, serving the village, et cetera, and would be interested in serving on the zoning board. So, and that's of course your purview and appointment, and the zoning board is down to 3 people, and we need more people on the zoning board. We had a problem at the last zoning meeting because all 3 have to be here and have to vote in favor of anything that happens. So I strongly recommend that you consider appointing Ms. Zielinski to the zoning board. I don't know what things you need to know about her or stuff before you want to do that, or if you want to do that.
Yeah. So,
Want to make a motion?
yeah, I'll make a motion to.
Just real quick, is it a 3-person board or a 5-person?
It's a 5-person board. We have 3 only on it right now.
Okay.
And
Can we have 4 on it? Like, what happens in a tie?
Well, if you end up, it's either a 3-person board or a 5-person board. If it's a 5-person board, you can have 4 and there's 1 vacancy.
Okay.
So
right now-
it would never be a tie. If it was 2-2, then the vote fails.
Okay.
If it's a 5 board, there have to be 3 votes always for every action. Now we only have 3. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to do that without personally knowing her. I know her and would
I
recommend
know her, yeah.
Okay.
I've talked to her much times.
Oh, well, would you be interested in doing that, Mr. Mayor?
So just
I know it is.
really quickly looking at the village code, it says for the zoning board of appeals, a board of appeals is created, said board shall consist of 3 or 5 members. So I just would refer back to whatever resolution set the number of members of the board at 3 or 5.
We set it at 5, but we don't have 5.
Well, you could always pass it, I mean, you're allowed to have a board of 3. You could just leave it as a board of 3, in which case you wouldn't have a quorum of 3 anymore, it would be a quorum of 2, and they would only need 2 of the 3 votes to pass it.
So can we continue to have it be a board of 5 even though we have a vacancy and appoint this one and now we're 4 towards our 5, working towards our 5?
Yeah, you can have a 5-person board.
Let's do that.
All right, so I'll make a motion to have a 5-person board and appoint Sherry Zielinski
Second?
as the 4th person on that board.
And to declare, I think it is a 5-person.
And I believe it already is.
Yeah, I just want to make clear that it's a 5-person board. All right, so a vote?
Yes.
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 That's everything I have, thank you.
So we need to sing happy birthday to you?
In 10 minutes if we're lucky,
Okay.
elsewhere.
Laura?
No, Nadine covered most of it.
All right, see, I wasn't on the agenda, so now I got 2 things on the agenda.
I
Just
moved you right on up there.
Steamtown update. So this is a initiative started by the school, but not necessarily ran by the school. It's a community idea to move the STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, into a more community effort. Like community, like they do challenges at the school where they have to like raise a potato with straws and stuff like that. But to bring this more into our community, so I've attended a couple meetings, there'll be more meetings. Eventually we'll have to do like a resolution or a proclamation to designate the village of Owego as a STEAM town. This is like a big up and coming thing.
It's huge. Will there be a steampunk festival?
You know about these STEAM towns, obviously.
Yeah, that was good. Good night, that was good.
I thought it was something to do with the railroad, but it's not.
You're showing your age, Mike.
What's the A4 and
Yes.
Arts.
Stuff is crazy.
So there's a difference, there's STEM and STEAM, and one has arts and one doesn't.
I got you.
They're leaning more toward the arts because of what Owego is, right? We're downtown Owego, there's a lot of arts.
So are you making a proclamation or are we doing something or are we?
I don't think we need to do anything now. So one action item that I took from that meeting was I put an update on our meeting. So just kind of bring this whole idea to the community. So there'll be more to come on that as we have more meetings and get more information about it. There's a lot of good ideas. There's a lot of people involved, businesses, Lockheed Martin, Guthrie, Applied Technologies. There's a ton of business, school board, Share's office is involved, the county's involved, economic development, so, there'll be more. Mayor's report from the first until now, posted the video. I attended the Steamtown meeting. I attended a Little League press conference. They got the 10U state tournament for the next 3 years. That'll be a big deal. I attended the fire board meeting with Charles and Rusty. It was fun. I looked at the treasurer's report, and then we reviewed the EMS RFP, which was a lot of pages.
Didn't you also work at the Little League Park?
Oh yeah, I went over for our work bee day. Got some zip ties.
That's from the car.
I test drove a car.
That's resolution authorizing that.
Do you want to explain this? This is the easement agreement we talked about last time. There's been some updates.
Right, so the last time, it was actually first proposed as an encroachment agreement, and then,
For the deck over the...
for the deck, as well as a,
Oh, the overhang.
the steps leading up from the Riverwalk to the project. And then, as Mr. Nelson and reminded his attorney actually, and Mr. Nelson, I guess, was thinking an encroachment agreement initially, but then he was like, wait a second, about a year and a half ago, Mr. Nelson proposed an easement agreement actually for this exact same type of a thing, so that way it would be then a permanent type of an allowed structure, still with an emergency exception, and if it has to get taken down to pass anything through, then the village could, but then, so the encroachment agreement says you can put it here, but as soon as you ever make any modifications to it, then you can't put it back. And an easement agreement